And I do not see being grown as this lavish luxury that I once did when I was free of responsibilities, bills, and stress. I've been watching way too much Pose. Okay. Let's get it started. Hi friends, it's Leah and welcome back to my channel. So this is a get to know me video and I'm starting off with this because I don't have anywhere to put any questions to see what you all want to know, so I felt like I should just give you a few things to start us off. So basically, one of my favorite phrases has always been grow up. I've said it all of my life, even when I was like a little kid, and if I would get into an argument with my older sister or with one of my friends or a kid on the playground, I was always like, you need to grow up. But now that I'm grown, I have no idea what that means. And I do not see being grown as this lavish luxury that I once did when I was free of responsibilities, bills, and stress. So, like I said in my last video, I'm an introvert, but once you get to know me, you'll see that my heart is wrapped in good intentions. Although I'm not a fan of small talk, I am very big on building deep connections with people. I'm also really into having authentic and genuine relationships. I probably can count on my hand how many friends I consider to be my best friends, and it takes me a while to really get to know people and for them to get to know me and to understand my personality and to understand where I'm coming from when I make certain jokes, but we'll get there. I feel like building a real connection with someone is really rare in today's society. To be able to really build connections, whether that's in person or online, I see that as a strength. And people who are able to do that and to come across as being their genuine, authentic selves, I feel like that's very important, and it's definitely something that I strive for. I'm excited to be on this journey, and I'm really excited for me to be able to practice displaying my high energy personality, but also just being able to like chill and relax. So I'm hoping that you'll get a sense of, a little bit of both as we go down the list of things that I wanted to share with you. So the first thing about me that I want you to know is that I'm a Mississippi girl, born and raised. I love the South. I love the environment. I love nature. I love the people. I love that Southern hospitality that you can't get anywhere else. So it's really special to me to be from the South, and more importantly, it's important for me to acknowledge and to give credit to Mississippi for molding me into a resilient person, into someone who's not afraid to just challenge stereotypes, because throughout the years I've gone places where people were like, you're from Mississippi, and had a lot of crazy things to say, like, do you all wear shoes? Or asking me dumb questions like, wow, your teeth are beautiful, I didn't know people in Mississippi had all of their teeth. So, those are the kind of things that you kind of encounter when you are able to be exposed as a child, but it teaches you to be proud of where you come from and to not be embarrassed to say that I might be from a small town, but that doesn't diminish my worth, it doesn't diminish my talent, and it definitely doesn't take away from my potential. Which is exactly what this channel is about. I am a retired pageant queen. I started in pageants when I was about the 7th grade, and I will tell you that I was reluctant to start in pageants because, for one, when I was younger, I didn't necessarily feel like I was like the prettiest, or I just didn't have that confidence. I was very much so like quiet, and I did not find myself to be one of those people who wanted the spotlight on me. I worked really hard, and I loved to receive accolades and to earn achievements and awards, but when it came time to just like put me out there in the spotlight and for people to congratulate me and to come up to me and tell me how great I was doing and how proud they were of me, it made me want to just like shrink in like a little shell and just do like the Am I invisible yet? I definitely could have never imagined that I would want to be on anyone's stage for any reason, and I had every intention to run the opposite direction when the opportunity was presented to me. However, my parents have always noticed that I had some talents I wasn't quite using, and they wanted me to be able to have an outlet to kind of just like hone those skills and put myself out there and learn how to build up my confidence. So I really want to say, if it hadn't have been for my involvement in pageants, I most likely would not have gone to college to be in broadcast journalism, because up until that point in the 7th grade, I was so terrified to give speeches. I took forever to be able to say like speeches at church. It was pretty serious, but I will say that the first time that I graced the stage, it was in that moment that I got that little adrenaline rush, and I never wanted to turn back. Throughout the years, I participated in the Miss America organization on the state and local level. I was also a university title holder, so I put a lot of time and effort into being a pageant queen, and I would say it paid off. I have pretty much done very well, if not landed every job that I've interviewed for, because of my impeccable interview skills. And also because of pageants, I made some mistakes along the way that I will definitely have to get into later. I'm a middle child. Yes, the beloved and coveted spot of birth order that most people want, right? No. So being a middle child for me was a learning experience, I would say. None of my siblings are directly behind each other, in front of each other. My older sister and I are about 6 years apart, and my little brother and I are 12 years apart. So yes, right when I thought that I was going to get the children's area all to myself, right before I hit that lovely age of 13, my parents decided that they were going to have a baby. And naively, I thought, great, I can have a sibling that would actually play with me, that I can boss around and tell what to do. And turns out that sibling took a lot of attention away from me, and I had an identity crisis once my little brother got here. But now we are the best of friends, and he's my little partner in crime, and we are building a beautiful relationship. And I would most definitely say that being a middle child has prepared me for a lot of things in my life. One, being in a sorority, and my line sisters and I have like this very unique bond, and the way that I fit within that group is a direct reflection of the way that I fit into my family. I'm able to move and shake. I can go with the flow. I know that everything is not about me, and I'm able to work with other people and be a part of a team, because I know that it takes more than one person to reach a goal. So I feel like your birth order directly impacts your mindset when you're first kind of learning how to interact with other people. So if I ever have kids, I'm definitely going to try to convince myself to have at least more than one. I gave my life to God when I was 18 years old, and it was one of those pivotal moments for me in my life where I realized that I had a bigger purpose. I was at this really weird place. I didn't know who I wanted to be, what I wanted to become, and obviously not much has changed, but I did gain some sense of peace from building a relationship with God. I'm not a religious person or a legalist, so I do not have these rules that I have to follow to be a Christian. However, I value building a relationship with God and developing a spiritual relationship with Him. People around you with their mindset and their perspectives, sometimes it just gets to be a lot. But when you have a belief in a higher power, or if you choose to believe in the universe, whatever it is, I feel like everyone should believe in something that represents a bigger scope of what this means to just be alive, to exist, to take up space. I am a college grad. Yes, I graduated from college and I have a degree in journalism, specifically broadcast, not communications, not like anything else, specifically broadcast journalism. And this degree was like a huge milestone for me. It was one of the biggest achievements of my life, and it didn't come easy, but it was worth it. Even though I did not have like 10,000 jobs like lined up when I graduated, it gave me the tools to be creative with what was supposed to come next. Unemployment. I was unemployed for about like 2-3 months, and it was scary times. I moved back home. I cried all the way back home when I moved out of my dorm, my apartment at the time. And it wasn't because I was sad to leave school. It was because I felt like I was a failure going back home to live with my parents. But it turns out that was like, it was a quiet season for me to really just like get focused and figure out what I could do with my degree. I realized that I wanted to do something different than being a news reporter, because that was the goal. When I went to college, I wanted to be a news reporter. And by the time I graduated, after 4 years of being on the local television and being an anchor and being on the radio station as a DJ, as a news reporter, and then in my senior year, I was the manager of Rebel Radio, I just realized news wasn't my thing. But I still love to be on camera. I still love to be, on the radio. I wanted to have like this talk show where I was talking to people. I loved when people called in to ask me questions or to request songs. I wanted something like that. I wanted something that like allowed me to use my personal like experiences in my life and my perspectives to tell a bigger story. Eventually, I landed a freelance position at one of the biggest brands in the South as a video producer, and at this point I wasn't even like in front of the camera, but I loved every minute of it. I was able to tell stories about people in the South that are doing great things. I produced some videos and some stories for the Southern Maid series, like Walt Gary or Special Equestrians and Caroline's Carts. Those videos I was able to be a part of and help produce and help interview and tell the story of those amazing people. It really changed the trajectory of my life and helped me understand like there's a purpose here. Like I like telling stories. I like even being behind the camera and like creating the visuals and talking to the people and building a connection so that we have a great interview and people are comfortable. It's all of those things that I found really made me like just feel that fire to just keep going. I am a Virgo. My birthday is coming up on the 21st of September and I'm so excited. I'm moving into chapter 26. And I like to think of myself as like a movie. I like to think of my life as like a movie or like a book. I get to like write out the story. I get to, switch up the main characters. And that's kind of like how I chronicle my life. When I was like 16, I started my very first website. I had like a mini podcast on that website, and my mom helped me design it and build it. And I let it go because I wasn't focused. I procrastinated, and that was my first attempt to like chronicle my life and like tell my story, or just like tell stories in general, and I checked it out. So this time around the sun, I am going to do things a little differently, and I'm excited about that. One of the main reasons I started this channel was so that I could give myself an outlet to be creative, to be authentic, and to take up space. I love the idea of just putting myself out there and being like scared as heck to do so. I feel like a lot of things that I'm good at, I start off being terrified of them. So this is a good sign for me. I'm terrified. The next thing I would say would be I would encourage anyone who's kind of like stuck at a crossroads to just evaluate like at least 3 different fields that they want to explore. If you don't have like a career set in mind that you know you want to do, then this is your opportunity to just be creative and to try something new. So in my year after graduation, once I finally got that first job, I was operating as a freelancer. So once that term was up, I realized I wanted to do something different. So I went into student affairs. I love college, as we all know, and I wanted to just be a part of that experience for other people. And working with students is like one of the things that I have associated with a part of my passion. So I'm currently getting my master's degree in student affairs. However, that's besides the point. That was my second job. So my second job was in student affairs, in student activities specifically. Very crazy time, but it was so much fun. And then my third job was as a freelance makeup artist at Belk at the Clinique counter. And I met some of the most incredible people while I was working in retail. And I will never trade that experience for anything, because for one, I got to play in makeup all day. I got to help people feel beautiful. I was able to learn some new tips and tricks to help me with my pageant life and my endeavors with that world. But it was just the experience of being able to connect with women or men who needed like skincare, and to be able to just like make people feel good about themselves. I love that feeling when like I'm able to be a part of someone like feeling like they could take on the world. And for a lot of women, that's what makeup does. If we just want to be honest, it's not just for like insecurities and covering up like acne, but it's also a mentality. It's a mindset of like, look how I can paint my face and I'm ready to like take on the day. So just taking that year, I consider that my gap year, as just like a time where I was like focusing on myself and like trying to figure things out. That was a pivotal moment for me as well, because it allowed me to understand like what kind of salary I wanted, and I knew at that point that I wanted a side hustle when I did get my full-time job. So yeah, if you don't know what you want to do, just try a lot of things out. Like there are no rules to this adulting life, okay? Everyone's out here just figuring it out. The next thing is, yes, if you're wondering, I did finally move out of my parents' home, and I am now in my first solo apartment all to myself. I'm loving every single minute of it. I was able to decorate, I painted, I convinced the landlord to let me paint. And I bought all this like filming equipment because now I have my own space and I can do what I want in my own little corner, in my own little chair. Like literally, this is mine. I can start a whole series on like things that you should do while you live with your parents. When I lived with my parents, I was able to save money for my apartment. I was able to improve my credit score and, you know, just prepare myself. So I would really like to do some videos on that, and I'm probably going to talk to my parents on my podcast about just like the idea that you can let your kids come back home and like what that looks like and like what you should be doing to prepare them to leave the nest again. One of the main reasons I started this channel was so that I could be my authentic self. I'm not like a, you know, big fashion person. However, I can make one item of clothing go like 5 different ways, probably 10 different ways, because I know how to just innovate within the closet area. I like to save money, and I do not like to waste anything. You also will get a little bit of exploration. However, I am in a small town, and this town will not necessarily be on like your list of places to visit when you're traveling down south. But I make the best of it. I found ways to make old things feel new, and I've also figured out how to just bloom where I'm planted. So you might not have a lot of potential in your current environment either, but we together will figure this thing out. I'll never promise you that I have it all figured out, but I do want to invite you to come on this journey with me to just discovering who you could be and the potential of where you want to go with your life. So stick around and hopefully we can build a relationship and we can get connected and I can learn from you and you can learn from me. I'm recreating the brand of who I want to be. I'm no longer college Leah. I'm no longer unemployed Leah. I am now a young professional who is trying to build a legacy for myself. One that I can be proud of, one that I can say I contributed to and I built from the ground up. So hopefully you have that same vision or you're just interested to see what I do. I hope you've enjoyed getting to know me a little better, all the feels, all my love, and thank you for being present with me. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you relate in any way, and leave me a comment to let me know